guys, how's it going? Today we are in the studio working on a fun craft project. So I've got a grapevine wreath form sitting in front of me, and we are going to create a fairy garden on this wreath. I've made lots of fairy gardens throughout the years, but never in wreath form. So I'm not sure exactly how this is going to go or how long it's going to take. I thought I would maybe time myself just to see. But grapevine wreath forms, you guys, are super inexpensive, like maybe $5 or under. I think sometimes you can even find them at the dollar store. Maybe not quite this big, but pretty decent size. So that's gonna be our base. I've got a whole bunch of stuff around me here. Random fairy garden pieces just that I've gathered through the years, some mushrooms, cute little sitting fairies here. We've got some butterflies, different types of moss. I might even incorporate a couple of little plants into the mix just to make it look more garden-y. I might create a type of house, maybe a little fairy garden house incorporated in. So anyway, there's just a lot of question marks in my brain as to how this is going to go. I know I'm going to be using a ton of hot glue, probably some twine, maybe some wire, but we just want to show you the process and hopefully give you a little bit of inspiration for a fun winter project. Okay, the first thing I'm going to try to do is fashion some sort of fairy house, because if I can make that happen, I think it'll be a really fun centerpiece to the whole display. I have no idea what I'm doing right now. I'm kind of wanting this this nursery can to nest, to nest on the wreath form like this. We're going to be hopefully building an alternative roof here. So that's perfect. Oh, okay. I'm going to glue some moss down first though, so it kind of bumps the house out a little bit. Start our glue stick counter right now. Now I'm going to glue the plastic pot down here. Just going to use a lot of glue. I think the moss was kind of unnecessary. Just pull that out. Yeah, I think using the moss in the beginning just made it messy. Just made this step messier. Okay, I'm gonna flip this over because I would really like to get this, well, maybe not all the way over. That little tab right there that I cut, that's gonna be a really good way to affix it to the back where it doesn't show. There's usually at least one point in a project when I'm kind of like, why? Yeah. Why did I start this project? Is this even worth it? Is it gonna turn out cute? Also, I wager that once I hang the wreath, because I think it'll look pretty, you know, laying flat on this table, but once I hang it, that's when you really start to see holes and where you need to add more things in to make it look even or balanced. Although I don't know that this one's gonna have a very, very balanced appearance at all. Now, I think this is good. Well, maybe one more little strip. So I'm cutting little strips of this plastic pot that I cut from the top and from the back, and popping a little dot of hot glue here and on the other side, and I'm just putting it on the inside here. So I'm gluing the inside of this side of the pot to the wreath form, if that makes any sense at all. Okay, now I'm going in with some moss. You've got to build up quite the platform here. Now I did go out and I gathered some things off of the ground. I've got some birch bark. There was just a few little chunks laying around one of our birch trees, and then I got some little helicopters from our maple. So I'm going to cut a door out probably, and then use this as our covering so we don't see the plastic. Door time. Where do I want the door? Probably right here. So I just wedged what was the bottom of the pot that I cut off. I wedged it right into the doorway area here, kind of as a floor. I think that'll work out pretty nice. I'm gonna try putting some fairy lights inside the house before we close it up. To fish this around the back side so we don't see it. Okay, kind of want this to appear like it's a tree house. I'm really happy with how this is turning out. So now I've got to decide, should we put a plant, kind of like it's a little tree? I think so. So I've got these little spider plants. They're just in little containers. Now this isn't going to be forever, obviously, because they won't be happy in these small containers forever. And you could use succulents in this case as well. They would last a heck of a lot longer, but I think it will be really fun to utilize these and just see how it goes. We can water them really gently with a syringe, and I think I can attach them. I'm going to tie them into the pot with some twine, and then we will attach them with twine or wire to the form. And I think I could do a couple like this, and it'll really make it look more magical and more like wooded, whatever, you know, natural landscape. I'm also going to tuck in a little bit of moss right underneath the drain hole, which will help when we water, just to soak up any excess moisture that might drip out the bottom. Okay, I got it. I think I got it to work, you guys. It's secure. So I tied the plant into the pot. Well, you just saw. I tied the plant into the pot and then fished a piece of twine around the backside of the wreath, and then used the pieces of the twine that were already around the pot and kind of went in behind those just to kind of tie it all down. I don't know if that made any sense the way I did it, but I think it's gonna work. Now I'm just gonna work on kind of building around it. I don't know if I necessarily want to see a lot of the terracotta here, maybe a little bit. And then we'll work on some sort of a roof for the house. Things are going pretty well, other than I've got hot glue strings everywhere. I'm gonna have to spend some time picking them off. I have heard that you can use a hair dryer and that helps remove them, the heat from the hair dryer, so I might try that. But I think it's looking really pretty. The things I might do, because I am adding a lot of color into this, so I might leave a section of this sort of a little bit more simple and thin, maybe even bare. However, another hot glue string, I don't really like those silver wires to be showing. So I might do just a simple layer of moss up there to cover the wreath form and cover the wires. So yeah, I'm really happy with this so far. The last thing we're gonna have to do is figure out what to do with the battery packs in the very end. Because right now, you know, I took that one off, I had attached it, and then I figured out you can't do that if you want to change the batteries out or you know, turn them on and off. So they're just sitting loose down below the wreath right now. So that's going to be something I'll probably need a second pair of hands to help hold the wreath while I kind of wire them on somehow. So anyway, let's attack this orange roof next. That is cute. Oh my goodness. I'm gonna tuck a little moss around it just to kind of blur the edges, the lines a little bit, so we don't have to finish it all the way, you know, up here. Oh, but I think that's so cute. I cannot wait to see what that looks like when the lights are off, because we'll have the little glow from these lights, but then also the glow from inside, hopefully through the roof and through the door. Erin's gonna turn the lights off. We still have windows in here though. Oh, you can definitely see the glow through the door. Oh, roof not so much. But the door, good. Yeah. That's good enough. Yeah. That's good enough. Well, shoot. The lights are way further down in the house. They're right, like sitting on the floor right there. So the only thing that can make this wreath better if these plants were artificial, and it would be a no maintenance wreath. These kind of projects make me so nervous, you guys, because I have no idea what I'm doing when I get into one of these. I've got a bunch of supplies and maybe a vague idea, but I never really know until it starts to come together. I don't get a practice run at this. This is it. All right, so at this point, I've got the house tucked in. That part's done. Everything is pretty much complete except for hiding the wire. So the rest of this time, I'm just gonna be tucking in moss, trying to hide all those wires. It'll probably be a complete moss wreath at that point. All right, I've been fussing for a while, but I think I'm done, other than hanging it where it's gonna go and touching it up with hot glue, because right now, you know, when you design a wreath, when it's laying on its bottom, all the weight is going this way, so you hang it up and then all of a sudden things wanna hang forward, so it may need glue in spots that I don't even realize it needs it yet. And I realized along the way, and I can't remember if I stopped to explain, but I had brown floral tape on hand. So instead of having to cover the entire form with moss, which I think would have been too much, it still would have been pretty, but I think it's good to have some breathing space, almost kind of like this is the sky up here. I took that brown floral tape and wrapped it around that silver wire so I could still have the little lights up there, the little twinkle stars, but you don't really notice the wire, which is just wonderful. And I'm just thrilled with this whole thing. I mean, the orange roof turned out beautifully. Once I used those, it smells so good in here. And those look very pliable because they are. I actually had dried those oranges and we used them in the kitchen window box. And I snagged one of the garlands on my way out here to do this project. And because they're outside and it's been really humid and wet outside, they had kind of rehydrated a little bit, but I'm not really worried about any mold or anything like that. I think they'll just dry just fine because this wreath has to be inside because of the spider plants. You know, had I used something different or faux plants, you could display this outside, but I don't know if you would actually want to display this outside unless it was somewhere really protected. Because, you know, all the glue, all the moss, all the little elements would be subject to outdoor weather and it may not last quite as long. But if you were to put together a wreath like this with faux plants or with plants that were super, super low maintenance or air plants even, I mean, you could have a wreath like this, this wreath will last forever too. We'll just eventually have to pop those plants out and replace them with something different once they need to be repotted. Also, I zip tied the battery packs to the back. I don't think we filmed that. Aaron held the wreath up and I just slipped a zip tie underneath one of the branches of the wreath form and zip tied the battery pack to the back. So that'll be very easy to snip, replace the batteries, and zip tie it right back into place when they need it. Okay, we're gonna pick this up, moment of truth, and we're gonna go hang it up and I will show you what it looks like. We are gonna try it up here in the front sun porch. That can't live in here because this is an unheated space, but I think the lighting is the best up here so we can see some detail. Oh, okay, I'm gonna move it a little bit. Make sure that that house is straight up and down. Oh, look at that, isn't that cute? I'm noticing that I could possibly use a little bit more weight right here, a little bit more bulk, so possibly another branch. And then, you know, one could fuss with something like this for a long time, but I feel like I could use maybe a little more weight back there too. But overall, oh, I think it's just such a fun thing, especially because these are all things that I had on hand. Every bit of this. I had just little bits of this and that from projects throughout the past. If you can keep yourself organized, which I'm not that great at, but I try to keep tubs of things, like tubs of fairy garden things, my extra moss. I even save little branches that I think are neat. And then eventually you can kind of put something together like this because it doesn't take a lot of any of these things to create something like this. I went through about 5 sticks of glue for this whole project and then the 2 lights. So those are kind of the extra things. I'm gonna try to get some pictures of this possibly in Samantha's room. I think it would be really cute to display it in there. It might end up down at the garden center, I'm not sure. But anyway, we thought up here might be the best just to see it in bright light before we take it inside, but I'll try to get some end shots and some shots in the dark. We did pop it in the root cellar really quick when we were out in the studio because it was nearby, and that's the darkest room we have because it has no windows, and it was magic to see all the lights. And you can see the light coming through the roof. So fun. So anyway, thank you guys so much for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed it. It was a really fun project, and we will see you in the next one. Bye.